So this video, we're going to be looking at finding the missing angle. I know that we're trying to find the missing angle, might say it in the question, but also in this case, you've got the x with the degree sign, there's an angle at the corner of the triangle, so we know that we're trying to figure that out. So we're going to follow the exact same process that we used for the other one. We're going to have a think about what we might be expecting to get. For these ones, the angle ones are a little bit trickier to estimate what we might be getting if we're not sure that the triangles are drawn to scale. If this one said it was drawn to scale, then we can estimate it a little bit better. If it doesn't, then the estimating for our angles won't quite work as well to start with. For this sake, I'm going to suggest that we're going to say it is drawn to scale. That means if this side's 9, based on how we look, this side would be smaller than 9. Okay. This angle here, it would then be bigger than that angle there, so this one's going to be higher than 45 degrees. Okay. If this one's longer, it means this angle has to be bigger than that angle there. So if it's larger, it needs to be more than 45 degrees. So the angle that I'm going to be expecting at the end is something bigger than 45 degrees. Now the next step that we talked about was labeling our triangle. The longer side is the hypotenuse, that's the one across from the right angle. Then I need to go the adjacent next, so the angle's there, so the other side next to the angle is the adjacent, and the one across from it is the opposite. Now, it's the exact same process for what we did before. We're going to circle the one, so the 12 meters is there, so I'm going to circle hypotenuse. 9 meters is here. I have nothing written on the side, so there's no measurement, no distance where the adjacent is, so I don't need to worry about that. What I'm going to now look at is the opposite and hypotenuse. Which one of these has opposite and hypotenuse? Oh, that one there, so I need to use sine. Sine of theta equals opposite over hypotenuse. So I'll write that down. Opposite over hypotenuse. Okay. Again, that setting up of the question is the important part. If we can do that, then the rest of it is just substituting and rearranging the formula. So let's substitute the information in. X is our angle, so I'm going to write sine of x equals, opposite is 9, hypotenuse is 12. Now, if you have watched the MathWatch video, which you should have, you'll know that the opposite, when we want to find the angle, we need to move this sine over to the other side, so we need to do the inverse of sine to make it x equals everything else. Now, normally we would have done like previously, if we would have had a divided by 10 and we'll move that to the other side, we have to multiply by 10 to cancel it out. This one, what actually cancels out sine is sine minus 1, like that, which just means the inverse of sine. So sine and the inverse sine, they cancel out. So on this one, I need to put sine minus 1 because if I do something to one side, got to do it to the other. So what I get left with is x equals the inverse sine of 9 over 12. So I don't need to simplify that first. I can just keep that in the brackets there as 9 over 12. So x equals inverse sine of 9 over 12. Then I can put that into my calculator and work out my answer. Now, if I'm doing that, so the inverse, most calculators have a shift or say second, and then I just press sine, C, but there's a sine minus 1 above it. Sine minus 1, brackets, 9 divided by 12. Close the brackets, press equals. Here we have 48.59 degrees. Okay. Check that with what I thought originally. Originally I thought this is going to be bigger than that angle. So it's going to be bigger than 45 degrees. Is it bigger? Yes, it is. So I'm pretty confident that everything I've done there is correct. Now again, that same process. This part here is always going to be the same. When we're trying to find an angle, if it was cos, it becomes cos minus 1 or inverse cos on this side. It's tan, inverse tan on the other side. The trickiest part is, or the part where you're most likely to make a mistake, is labeling these triangles and setting it up correctly using the right formula. So make sure that you're taking your time labeling all three sides, circling the ones that you've got the information on, and then choosing the correct formula based on that. If you can do that, then you're reducing the likelihood of making any of those mistakes later on. And even if you do happen to make some mistake, you can at least then check it based on what your original estimate was and say, oh, maybe I've just got those numbers around the wrong way because it's not what I expect. Okay, but we can then check that if we're getting this part right. So use this example as you're practicing questions, play the video each time, make sure you're following each step. The more you do that, the easier it is to remember without the video what it is that you need to do.